Now I'd like to welcome Leon Adato, who's going to be talking about unplugging from technology. I think we can all appreciate doing that. Please welcome Leon.
For the next 5 minutes, I dare you to put down your phones, close your laptops, set aside your tablet. I double dog dare you. In fact, there's a pile of swag on that table back there that says that you can't just listen to me, free from the bondage of beeps and tweets and pings. I triple dog dare you. Now, separating ourselves from our devices is not a new topic, but understand that we've gotten here remarkably fast. It was less than a decade ago that the iPhone came out, and here, 2/3 of all Americans have a smartphone. And we understand intuitively what it is that they're doing to us, even if we can't quote the figures off the top of our head. We relate to the idea, the studies that tell us that people feel worse about their life after visiting Facebook, that screen use is related to signs of sleep deprivation and even depression. Now, we also understand what it is that these devices are pulling us away from: life. Now, the columnist Josh Becker recently said, "Life at its best is happening right in front of you. These experiences will never repeat themselves. These conversations are unfiltered and authentic." But I'm not here today to talk about how bad it is to be connected, because that would be disingenuous. I spend my entire day in front of a computer. It also wouldn't be helpful. No, instead, I just want to make the case that unplugging some time and some amount of time is deeply beneficial to all of us. Now, you may have read stories about people who take a data diet or a technology cleanse and wonder what kind of crazy wingnut would do something like that. Well, I'm part of a society, a secret society of wingnuts that do this every week. We call this idea Shabbat, and we do it all the time. Now, before you worry, Judaism does not go in for the whole conversion thing, so I'm not going to ask you to join the tribe. I'm also not going to try to sell you Amway. Now, on Shabbat, anything with an on switch is off limits. But if you're not Jewish, that doesn't really count. So it begs the question, what am I doing here? Well, in addition to being part of that crazy group of wingnuts, I've also been in IT for 30 years. I've unplugged every single week. So I have some ideas and tips to share with you. First of all, like anything in IT, having a plan is where you win or lose the game. For example, you plan to turn off everything that connects to the outside world, including the radio. Great! What about CDs? Okay, if CDs, what about podcasts? If podcasts, what about streaming audio? The point is, you're not going to have a perfect plan. Just have a plan and then adjust it as you go. You also need a plan on how to communicate. Not to everyone. Just communicate to a few key friends and relatives and even coworkers, and tell them that you will be out of cell and data range. Those are exactly the words to use. Don't tell them you're unplugging for a day. That's crazy. They'll troll you. And when you come back online, do the opposite. Don't tell anybody. They'll figure it out. Trust me. You also need to have a plan on how long and how often to connect or to unconnect. And the answer is whatever works. That's not the point. The point is that you build the habit and experience the benefit of unplugging, not that you try to fit yourself into some one-size-fits-most specification. You also need a plan on how to reconnect. Because if coming back online means 5 hours of slogging through email and social media, you will be miserable and hate it and not do it. You need a plan on how you're going to mentally prepare for being offline when you're online. I have a friend who's an artist. He unplugs every single week, and to do that, he has to exhaust himself creatively all week long. Otherwise, he is plagued with ideas on his unplugged day that he can't draw. That made me rethink my prioritization also. It also made me rethink the way I deal with notifications, or as I like to call them, interruptions. Try this for a week. Take a look at the way that you are notified during emergencies and how often those emergencies occur. The reality is that most of our notifications are not important at all. Which leads me to the worst interruption of them all: outages. Now, what do you do if you have a real emergency, an outage, during one of your offline times? Spoiler alert. You do whatever you need to do to keep your paycheck, but you continue to be flexible and you adjust as you go. So that takes me to on-call. I've had managers who respected my religious schedule, and I've had managers who told me my religion was my problem to solve. The reality is that the solution is not with your manager, not with HR, it's with your team. If you and your team can come up with a solution, you are home free, because everybody hates their on-call schedule and wants more options, and you, my friends, represent those options. You wouldn't believe how effective it is to just trade a day or take someone's entire on-call week in exchange for an equal number of days when you're offline. So what about perception? The fact is that some people worry that if they go offline regularly, people will judge them. That's not going to happen. Most times the response I get is, man, I wish I could do that. The choice is yours. Now, if you made it to this point without checking those interruptions, you have my heartfelt gratitude as well as my respect. If you didn't, you may want to think about why that is and maybe consider whether you're okay with it. I have a couple of seconds, so I want to thank my amazing wife who is in the back and tell her that she is amazing and intelligent and beautiful in every way, inside and out. Thank you for your time.